Now when you get your MPK 61 key or 88 key, you're going to get two discs. Now here we have one. This is for a Go Live Lite by Ableton. And we also have one which is our editor, which we're going to use a lot in the video from the computer. We got a lot codes also for our Go Live Lite, which is right here. So I'm going to use the editor, and it'll show you the same features I have here, except it'll be on a computer, and you'll be able to physically see it much better. So we use the editor for actually editing the program a lot, which is really much easier actually to get presets I want to save also as well, or store them as well here. And we use Go Live also for creating songs, but in our video we're going to probably use mostly a lot of Reasons and some Pro Tools. But it doesn't matter, you just need to know how to use your MPK with whatever DAW you're using or module. USB, MIDI out, and MIDI in for foot switch 1, foot switch 2, and expression pedal. Here you can put your lock in right there. Lock your program, of course. And here is for our power source, which requires a 16-volt direct current right here. And this we can wrap a little wire around for our direct current. That way we won't just pull it out and break this. That's important. Okay, now I want to flip this around a little bit so you can get to see. My setup's pretty simple right here for today. What we're using right here, we're just using our inputs, right, as you can see. We've got a USB and a MIDI output. That's all we're using right now. We're going to send output to a Reason software, or Pro Tools, or our Logic, or Sonar, or even our Go Live Lite. Now if you want, you can also use an input here. Let's say, for example, I have my MPC. I have my MPC control everything. I'd put it in here, let's say, and have an MPC keyboard, and I'd run it from, the MPC drum machine. I might run it from here, make it easier for me. So I'm using also USB cables, so my power's coming from my USB cable. Always make sure your system is set up first. Set the cables in, know how you're going to use your system, then turn your software or your hardware on. That way it'll recognize it before you start to use it. Now this is our LCD display. Here we can view all the parameters of any preset, or let's say we change a bank, pad. We can see A, B, C, or D right here. We can see our MIDI controls right here, and we can change all our parameters within the screen. Now here we have our value button. I can increase or decrease the value. Let's say, for example, I'm a particular preset, and I'm there and I want to move from this one preset to another preset. I can turn the value knob and press enter. I'm in a new preset. Now the button below here, these buttons right here, can move me along to the field. I can go to the next field, or the next field, or the next field that I see here in my LCD display. Once I get to that field, I can change the particular parameters of that field. Now next we have here is our preset button. I can be in any particular field right here on my LCD display. I'll press preset and I'm back to presets. I can select a new preset. I can go turn the data wheel, enter, and select that preset. Back to preset again. Press enter. I've got my preset selected. Now I can hit this button right here, which is my edit button. And this button allows me to call up edit mode. In edit mode, this allows me to change the behavior of any pad, knob, fader, button, keyboard, and I can change the behaviors of those particular items. I can edit their parameters. Global mode. I press this button right here. This is global mode. Now this allows me to call the global mode where MIDI reset commands and global system preferences are set. The next button we've got is the preview button. Now this button allows you to see what value will be sent to a controller without actually setting the value. For example, I may have a particular volume level that's supposed to be up to here, we'll say. And what I want to do is, okay, look, I want to make sure I know where this is at. Now on the computer I see it, okay, it's in a volume level for this particular keyboard sound, we'll say, it's actually there. But this fader was actually here. So I preview it first, Then I want to adjust my fader to where it's supposed to start from. Start the preview, and then I can do my adjustments of the parameter of the volume control, which would be the up or down of volume. Now this way, this is really especially really useful when you're trying to switch between control banks, where, for example, the physical position of the fader may not correspond to the last value sent by the controller. So hold down the preview button, hold the preview button down. This allows me to view the original value and adjust the physical position of the fader as necessary before transmitting any value. That's important to know. Next we have program change. Now program change, when I press this button, we enter the program change mode. And in this mode I can send a program change or program with bank change message to any hardware or software device that I have. Let's say a module or whatever, or even to the software, and change the program. Here we have the 8 assignable knobs. These are 360-degree knobs. You can turn them all the way around. Continuous control data to our desktop audio workstation or to an external device, mini device. Let's say I got a module, I got a motif rack. I can use this to turn that particular data that I've set for in my preset. It's really cool. Next here we've got our faders. These are really cool. We can move the faders up and down. They're really cool, really smooth. Very smooth faders. These of course are assignable. Each fader can be used to send a continuous control data signal to the same thing. Any software like Reasons or Sonar or Pro Tools instrument will say, or to even a module, you know, like a rack mount, like a motif or JV rack mount, any rack mount module, and you can send this data right out to it. This is a MIDI controller, of course, and that's why we have these faders. Now, right below our faders, we have our assignable buttons. Now, these buttons right here, they light up. It's kind of cool. They light up so you know which one's lit. Very useful. So, these buttons are used to send messages for MIDI CC switches or program change devices. They can function in momentary or toggle mode. And when I press this other button here at the end here, which we have over here, which is my time division button, these buttons are used for the time division, let's say for an arpeggiator. I would be here in quarter notes. Here is eighth notes. Now this is quarter note triplets. Here's eighth notes. Here's eighth note triplets. Here's 16th notes. Here's 16th note triplets. Here's 32nd notes and 32nd note triplets. So I can use these to go back and forth between subdivisions of any note I'd like to when I'm using my time division. Control bank. Right here's our control bank section. And I control particular banks. How this works, for example, this is bank A. So I have 8 buttons, 8 knobs, 8 buttons, 8 faders. That's the one bank. Bank B is the next bank. So I have 8 knobs, 8 faders, 8 buttons on the bottom there. And then hit again, and both lights light, which gives us C, which is bank C, which gives us again another 8 faders, 8 buttons, 8 knobs. So we have these 3 banks, and we control them right here with this one button. Now, for example, using this time division is really cool. I can go here, and I press one button. Quarter note, triplet, eighth note triplet, 16th notes. There's a chord now. 16th note triplets, 32nd notes, 32nd note triplets. That's how it works. Next we have our transport section. Here we can go back, forward, stop, play. I'm going to press play. I got a sequence in my Reasons program, and I'm already set for Reasons here in my preset, and I'll press play. I can play my song from the top. I can stop it. I can play from where I left off at. Stop it again. I can move back 1 bar, 2 bars, play it again. Stop it. I can hold this down and go all the way to the top again. Stop it. Now, if I got a sequence and I want to record something, I can press record right here, and I'm ready to record on that track. And I'm recording. I'll press stop. I can play a part. I can go record. Press stop. Rewind. This is our transport section. Really cool, easy to work. Tap tempo. We can tap a tempo out. And it'll blink according to the tap, or fast. And you can blink, see that? You can set this tempo by just tapping it. Pads. A classic MPC thing, or an MPK actually, from AKAI. We can hit these pads and they can control something. Now if I'm set there for a parameter like, let's say, that little keyboard sound, I control keyboards, drums or whatever. And these pads are just like MPC pads. You can hit them and they can take a good beating. Love these pads, they're always cool. So next I want to show you the pad bank keys. Now I've got bank A, we got bank B, we got bank C, and bank D. So if we got some sounds on those banks, we got our pads, we can access a lot of sounds. So that's 16 times 4. We got ourselves 64 different locations for, let's say, a drum sample or anything else. That's kind of cool. See your pads, got your banks. Next one I'll show you, we got full level. I got full level right here. So my full level, it gives me full level. Let's check that out. Well, next we're going to do our full level here. This is our full level. This is our full level, maximum velocity, full level of that particular sound. If I hit it there, that's what I'm going to have. Full level. Next, we've got our 16 levels button. Now, what happens here in 16 levels is that the last button or the last pad I hit, last sound I hit there, and then I activate that button, that sound will be held in the memory, and these pads here will then set the level of each hit on the pad. From 7 to 15 to 23 to 31, all the way up to the maximum level 127. So, when I press the 16 levels button, let's say for example, I got this here, the snare drum. I'll press this button, and now, see that? It's on all the pads. I can stop that. I want that. See that? And what this allows us to do is the pads will now output the same note number and pressure controller as the initial pad. But the velocity is fixed at the value shown in the diagram. Let's see, check out your book for your MPK, whether it's a 61 or MPK 81, and it's page 5. And you see how the values are set for these pads. Now I've got the note repeat button right here. Let's take the 16 levels off. Here's our note repeat button. Hit that, that little light goes on. Now holding this button while striking the pad causes the pad to re-trigger. Now here we go. And this is all based on our time division. Remember those time division lights I showed you before? We've got the time division set for quarter notes or eighth notes. I'll set it for eighth notes and hold the pad down. See that? And so it's set according to whatever our time division is set when we hold the pad down. And this will cause it to repeat or re-trigger. We also have our split button. Now my split button is right over here. I press that button, it lights up. It's cool to have a lit button. Now the button divides the keyboard into left and right sections, A and B respectively, okay? So this is allowing you to control two different sets of sounds simultaneously when that button is activated. Now the tip to this thing is that you can set the dividing point, let's say, of the keyboard by simply holding down the split button and pressing the desired key on the keyboard. So for example, I want to split here. I'll press this button down and I want to split from here right here over. So I can split my sounds up on the keyboard if I want to. Let's say for example I had a bass over here, I want to have keys over here. That's a split keyboard. The next feature I want to talk about is our Arpeggiator button, which is right over here. Okay, when it's not lit, I can play a chord. That chord plays right there. Right now, put the Arpeggiator button on and watch this. It's the quarter notes. That works with my time division buttons, which is right over here. So you can see right there my time division. And what I'll do is I can set it to here and I can go. I'll do this even. And that's how it works. Along with the time division button, our arpeggiator can set the speed, we'll say, or the quantized value of the notes that are struck on the keyboard. And it works for the keyboard only. And its tempo is set by the internal clock within, let's say, Reasons or whatever software I'm using, or I can use an external sequence like an MPC or something, and then just play it, and then that external sequencer will control the tempo at which this arpeggiator function works. Once I got the arpeggiator function going, I can latch it as well. I'll press the keys down. I don't want to play anymore. Just take my hand off, press the latch button, see what happens? They're playing by themselves. Now I can also release my latch button, it stops. So obviously it holds it, the latch button will hold it to whatever parameter is set. Now we also have our octave button. Turn my arpeggiator off here. So obviously we can go down by octaves by pressing this one button here. It extends the length of our keyboard. And it's really cool. Helps you to keep within a range that you're trying to use in any particular song. Next, I want to talk about our pitch bend wheel. We can bend that pitch. I can play a sound, bend it up or down. That's really cool. Now the pitch bend wheel transmits MIDI pitch bend information on a selected MIDI channel and port. So that means it sends this information out, and of course it'll trigger that in your DAW, your digital audio workstation, or even on your module or your keyboard. It's sending the data out to. Remember that. And we also have here our modulation wheel. Now this wheel can be used to transmit continuous controller data. Now watch this. See that? Okay. And this is set by default. The modulation wheel will transmit MIDI CC 01. So remember that. When you're transmitting this is 01. Okay, next I want to get into display and explain how display works. Here on top, as you can see here, we're in a preset, and this is our regions preset, and it's preset 2, which is how all the MPKs are shipped, of course. There are presets in there. And I told you before, we can press preset, we can change the preset. We have up to 30 different presets here that we have in our MPK 61 and MPK 88. First one being like live, then we got regions, then we have Cubase, we have Sonar, we have FL Studio, we've got application Applied Acid, Assura. I press it down, see what happens? It brings it up. So I can turn the knob, press it down, it loads it. Turn the knob, I'm at regions, I'll press the button down and it loads it in. Now once it loads it in, we got to sit right there, I hit a keyboard note. You'll notice at the bottom here we have our octave and our transpose. Now the octave setting will apply to individual presets. So for example, I press a keyboard pad there, and that's for that particular preset. Now the other keyboard sound I bring up won't have this on it. I have to change the octave for that one. So, obviously. Now, but when I go to transpose, we're in transpose, and we're here and we go to transpose. Let's save it actually. Now here we are in octave. Now if we are here in transpose, what happens in transpose is a global command. So it happens to the entire instrument when we go to transpose. So that means if I turn the transposition, every sound that's being played or every sound that I'm going to ever play will be transposed up or down according to the setting right here for transposition. If I hit a pad, let me hit a pad here. You'll notice here we have pad information now. Now we're going to see, for one, we're going to see the MIDI port channel. That's 1A. And that's pad bank A. See that there? So we're going to go to MIDI channel, port channel is 1A. Our MIDI note is going to be MIDI note number 39. That's our MIDI note. Got that? And this is our note indicator. Indicate this is a note. Right here, this is our note number. See it right there? Note number. Right here's our velocity. Here's our note number. Here's our velocity. The velocity at which how hard that note's hit. Hit it real hard or soft. Either way. Okay? And here's from the data. This is data being sent. See that? I hold it down. That's the data that's being sent out. I lift it up. Well, that is being sent out right now. So it's a continuous monitored data. That's what this is. It's 00 now. I press the pad down. Now it's sending out 127. Right here is our aftertouch. So when that's enabled, and I hit it, that's after I touch it, it tells me, well, hey, this is being sent. It's the data that you actually put in. So I'm holding the pad down slightly now. Not much, but it's still sending data. See, I'm not holding the pad down much, but the more I keep my hand on the pad, it's still sending data. So I lift my hand up lightly, up or down slowly. I'll put it right here. And I'm still triggering that sound and still sending data. I'm going to turn a knob. And now I turn the knob here, we have a different setting. This is our control chain setting. Now when I turn a knob or I move a fader, or I hit a button somewhere here, these buttons, I check this knob here, this information comes up right here. Now what we have here, first of all, of course, is our MIDI port and channel number. That's MIDI 1A. Got that? Next we have our controller. This is our control change indicator, right? And here's our control change indicator right here. Now this is the controller that I'm controlling. Whatever this is set for. Now I turn the data wheel on this knob here, turn this knob here, you'll notice that it says controller 2. See? Controls. I'm hitting knob 1. I'm turning knob 1. That says 2. So it's whatever 2 corresponds to in a particular DAW, which is our digital audio workstation, or in my sound module, I'm controlling that parameter. And here is the amount of data that's being sent. This is 100. See that? And that's the control change value. Up or down right there. And this is for a knob. It could be for a fader as well. See, I moved this first fader. Now it says the control is 12. And I can go up and down with this fader here. See that? And that's my control change changing. Right there. And as I move this fader up and down, the value is also displayed with a bar meter right here. See the bar meter right there? So I can move up and down. We can see in a little bar meter, oh, what is data going in there? In and out. See that? And we could see this data as it fluctuates right here. As I turn my knob or move my fader up and down. We can also have our knobs, as well as our pads, transmit aftertouch. The knobs and the faders, or MPK, can transmit this information. And we can set this as well. We could also have MIDI machine control command sent. Now, MIDI machine control is sent to control a particular software, say a digital audio workstation software like Sonar, Cubase, Reasons, Go Live Lite. So in this case, I have my play, stop, fast forward, record buttons. I'll press the stop button, and you'll see it sent an MMC stop, MIDI machine control stop. Now earlier I actually played a sequence using that. I just want you to see what it looks like here on the screen, on the monitor right here, before we start going to our computer so you can see how the virtual MPK looks on the computer screen. It'd be much easier to teach you that way. So here, for example, I can press play, and it's play. I'll press stop, and it stops. Here I can go back. So I'm pressing the back button. I can go forward. Press the forward button. And press my stop button. That's MIDI machine control. I want to talk about and explain the preview button. It's very important. Now when you're changing parameters, and you've got the machine on, and you're trying to change several parameters. Now what might happen, for example, you back out a little bit and you'll get a better view of this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Is right here we have banks. This is bank A, that's bank B, and there's bank C. Now remember, all these knobs, the faders, and the buttons can be used. So that means we've got 8, and we got 8 buttons here, right? So that's 8, that's 24. And another 24 here with B. Another 24 with both of it, which is C. So we've got a lot of parameters we can actually change. But sometimes we want to change more than one parameter. So I can hold the preview button down, let's say, and select my fader. Now here, the last known data for the fader is 90. And you can see it right here, it says 90. But my fader is at 77. I may want to move my fader up to 90 so that value was already set there. So if I want to go back and I'm playing a particular software, I want to make sure I'm at that exact point. So here it's at 91. So I'm going to press it again. I'm going to get exactly on 90. There we go, I'm on 90. So I know that that fader is going to be on 90. So I can go to bank B, and then I want to see a preview. See that preview? That's on 0. So bank B is on 0. So I have to move my fader back to 0 for that particular parameter. See that? So in case you're using different parameters for different control changes, you want to make sure you press the preset button, change it back, and then set your fader or your switch or your knob to the particular data that it should be set to that parameter. You got me? And this way, for example, if you got a fader set all the way down to 0 here, and let's go back to A, and it's supposed to be at 90, well, you move that fader, I have the preview button now, you move that fader, and you're still at 0, and you're going to just mess it up. That means, wow, you started from 0, not from 90. So I always press my preview, get to where it should be at, according to what the last set changes were set at, and then I work from there. I say, okay, I work from that point right there. It makes it easier for me, and easier for you. So preview is very important to use when you're changing the data on your knobs, your faders, or your switches, like S1 through S8. Now I press my preset button. Now, the preset button is used to select the preset, of course. If I get a preset, let's say, and I change it around, let's say I go to here, Cubase. I press Enter. I'm in a preset, and I'm going to change my preset. I may go to a fader and change this, and I also want to edit that information, and I want to change it. So I want to change this control, change information, yep. And I go to here, and I press Enter. And now I can change what information I want to change to a particular controller. So here I'm on this particular control right there. I can take my buttons here, move over to the next field, or to the last field there. See that? Once I like it, I can press Enter. And I can press Enter right there, and I like that. And that's good. That's the preset. So that preset I like. And so I can keep that. Once it's changed, I've got it right there. I can press Enter to enter that. See that? That's K1. That's knob 1. I can make changes there. I can put in the data wheel now. Turn the data wheel. I'm in Aftertouch. I can press Enter. And now I'm in Aftertouch. See that? I can change the parameters here in Aftertouch. Turn the data wheel. This little wheel here. Then press Enter. And I've got Aftertouch saved right there. Press Enter. Press Enter. I'm out of it. See that? And that's right there in that preset that I'm doing this. I can move the fader. That's F1 now for fader. See that? And I can turn the data wheel again. I can select what parameter I want to change in this fader. I can change the control change or the aftertouch. I can press Enter to get to the aftertouch. Here in the aftertouch, I can change the parameters. So obviously, you can start from 0 to 120. I'll go from here to 0, move this button over here, press the button here, and now I'm right here in this field, and bam. Hold it in again. Change that. Yeah, like that. Press the Enter. It's changed for that particular button. Now that preset has changed. It's kind of cool. And I'm good to go. I can go to Banks. Now this button becomes 10. This knob, which is knob K1, now becomes K9. I'll press the bank button again, and now it becomes K17. So you can see how it works. Now fader becomes fader 17, fader 1. And once I'm in bank A, fader 1 is fader 1. Bank B, fader 1 now is fader 9. Bank C, fader 9, which is actually 1, is now 17. That means fader 1, which says on the keyboard what it is, but here, once I'm in bank C, it's fader 17. I can go back to here, and I'm out. Okay, we'll say I go into a preset. I got a preset, we'll say here. I'm going to make some changes. Let's say I want to change something. I'm going to turn a fader or something here, and I want to go to Edit, and I'm in bank 1. Now it's bank A. I'm here on fader 1, and I'll press this button here, and now I can change the parameters of the aftertouch. I like it. I'll press Enter. And then, let's say I want to keep it. Well, I can press this button right here. I'm preset. I can press the button here. I can press Save. I can save this setting I made in this preset and save this entire preset. Let's say I did a whole bunch of changes. I changed the faders, the knobs, the arpeggiator, all kind of stuff I changed, and I want to keep this setting. Well, what I would do is I would press, of course, you're going to press your preset button, and then you're going to press this button right here. And now I can save that preset. I can say, sure, let me save that. And I'll press Enter to save it. And now it's saved right there. If I want to check it, I can always go back there and say, well, let me turn this fader here. And, oh, it was right there. It was right where it was at. That's right. And I can preview it. And that's for 68. Yep. So, we want to make sure we're saving some data. And we want to make sure if we do load it, we can save it, we can do that. And we can pick, I can say, oh, look, I want to go back to preset. I don't want to save it. I want to save it someplace else. What we can do, we can select, I want to save it where? Well, see, we can save to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 30. So I can select where I want to save this preset at. I can copy it too. I go back to 3 here. I can save it to 3, because I'm already in 3. Or I can copy to 4. See that? That's how, or I can just cancel. And I cancel it out by pressing this button right here to cancel out that operation. Now also, I can change the name of a preset. Let's say I got a preset here, and we go to this generic stuff we got over here. This is all generic, you know. Generic meaning like, you know, whatever you want to call it. So this is generic. I say, okay, I want to load it. I press enter. I load a generic in. Got my generic in there, I'm ready to roll. So I want to change the name though. I may change the preset, I like it. So we're going to press this button right here. One more time. And now I can change the name of this preset. Now how we do this? We just change the name by turning our data wheel right here, our value knob right here. And so I can change it right there. See that? Got numbers, everything. And all the way over I can get the lowercase. And we have uppercase right here, as you can see. So we can change the name. And I could change the name. I can call it like Zen. Move the cursor over, move the cursor over, move the cursor over. And here, keep turning my wheel again. I can get nothing there. My next cursor will blink, as you can obviously see that. I get nothing there. Next cursor will blink. I go to here, I get nothing here. And go to here and a blink, and I can turn to nothing as well. And now I can press enter, and I can save this to there. And I'll save it to 17. And now it's saved. I can turn my data wheel. Well, there it is, Zen. It's number 17. We got Zen right there. See that? And we got generic still, but this is now called Zen. That's how we can change the name of our preset. Okay, now I'm in this particular preset. Now if I want to edit the pads, or if I want to edit a keyboard, or I want to edit the fader or a knob, I'll press edit. Now, I pressed edit. I turned K1, the first knob, and now I can edit the parameters for that knob. I'll press the keyboard. Any key on the keyboard, any key on this keyboard, and I can edit the parameters for the keyboard. I'm going to hit a pad. I'll hit pad 1. There you go. P1, P for pad, pad 1. I can edit pad 1. I'll move a fader. Fader 1 just moved it. Look, we have control change here. We can change the parameter for that particular fader. Move another fader. There's fader 2. I'll go to fader 8. Knob. K8. Any key on the keyboard. I can hit any pad. No matter what. I'm still able to edit. If I hit a pad, edit that pad. This is how it works, okay? Well, next we're going to edit the keyboards. Now, I'm going to edit the keyboard parameters a little bit. Now, hit a keyboard here. We have octave. We have transposition. I'm going to press edit. Hit a keyboard. Any note in the keyboard, and we've got octave, the first parameter I can actually edit. The next one is aftertouch. The next one is velocity. Now, once I pick the parameter I want to edit, I press my value knob in. So you push it to enter. And now I see the parameters I can edit here in octave. The first parameter is, of course, the control change. So I can set the MIDI channel to control change to from 1A up to 16B. I'll press the cursor button here over. And now I can change the octave from flat to a +3 or to a -3 octave. Once my change is correct, I can press enter. I'm done. Now, I can also set the keyboard aftertouch. Now, I'll turn my data wheel, value knob right there, and now we have aftertouch. To edit this parameter, we just press enter, and we're in. The same thing here applies. We have the MIDI control channel, which I can change, which you can send on, of course, from 1A to 16B, as we'll show you right here. And move my cursor over. And now we have it on or off. Just toggle between the two, on or off. In this case, it's on. I like that. I'll press enter. Now, we have velocity. I'll press enter. And we can change the velocity as well the same way. We have the CC control change, move the cursor over, and it's on or off. Press enter, and I've changed, or if I wanted to, which I didn't do anything actually, just show you, but you can change the parameters for your keyboard by using this method. Once I'm set, I press enter, I'm good. I know what I want. Now if I want to edit something else, I'll go to pad, we'll say. I hit a pad right there. And now I can change the note of this pad. Now, I'll turn the data wheel. We have note. We can change the program change and note. See that? I'll select note, and now I can change the note. I can change the CC, the MIDI control channel, from the obvious 1A to 16B. I can also change the note. So for the pad I hit, that note is 39. So I hit on the pad, it won't change. See that? Because we're stuck here in this one pad that we selected already. Be aware of that. Now next, what I can do here is change the note. I can say I want that pad to be note 040 or note 40. We can also go from momentary to toggle between the two. That's a momentary to toggle. And here we have PPR to CPR change. I can press enter and we're in. The note value has changed. Okay, next I want to explain some more about information and how it's sent. Make it a little easy for us. Now here we're in pad, of course. We went to note. I'll press enter again. And these changes, when it says A, 1A means they're going out of port A. Sometimes some machines have two MIDI outs, A and B, or MIDI ins A and B. So we want to send it out of, let's say, A and B, so two ports. So in 16 possible MIDI channels, that means we have 1 through 16 for A, and then port B would be 1 through 16. Next, I want to explain between toggle and momentary. Now, you move the cursor over here to momentary, and then, or toggle rather. I'll turn to momentary first. Now, momentary is the way that you naturally react. You hit a pad, let's say, or you play the note, and then when you hit that note, it plays the sound. Releasing the note turns the sound off. Sends a note off information back to the DAW, the digital audio workstation, or to your modular keyboard you're using to send limited commands to. Now that's how normally it works, of course. And toggle means that, if I go to toggle here, TGL, that means when I hit the note, that means the note is on. And when I hit that key, the note is heard, but it keeps going. When I hit the key again, then the note turns off. That's the toggle method. So, toggle and momentary. Understand the two. Well, next I want to talk about pressure behavior and how it works for pads. Okay? Now I'm going to go to this field right over here. You can see we have several options. The first option is off. So this turns off the pressure behavior. The second option is CPR. And this is our channel pressure. Okay? This is aftertouch information that is transmitted through the MIDI channel. The next option we have here is PPR, which is our polyphonic pressure. So, now if you select PPR, each pad will transmit aftertouch information individual. So that means each pad is individual with its aftertouch transmission. So I hold this pad down here. Hold this pad. I hold it lightly. See? Not too much pressure. More pressure. So what's going on here is that it's transmitting that pressure according to each individual pad. If I'm in PPR. If I'm in CPR, all pads assigned will, to that particular MIDI channel, will transmit after-touch information as a group. So that means no matter what, all the pads will react the same way if I select that. And that's what happens. This is how pressure behavior works. So you want to make sure you have that set up properly when you are going to set your parameters up for your pads. This had note. Now that was note for pads, right? I hit pad 12 last, of course, as you know. Next, I'm going to talk about program change parameters. All right, we're going to turn the value dial, and now we have program change. Okay, I'll press enter, and right here we have the data that we can actually change. Of course, as usual, we have our MIDI channel data from port A to B, channels 1 through 16 in each port. It's pretty simple. Let's add a program change. Now, a program change is a program change message. It can be sent out to, let's say, change a particular sample set. Let's say certain samples are going to be on program 1. Or we'll have instrument, maybe a bass line or a bass sound will be in program 2. Well, I can send that data through that pad. Now, next we have our M bank. With the cursor over here, or better known as the bank M field. Now this is the transmission of the most significant bit. It's called the MSB, most significant bit of information. And we use the cursor right here, these plus or minuses here, toggle back and forth to them, and we can, of course, move the dial up, see? But once it's here and it's an off, they're both off. See that? The bank M and the bank L. Now, bank L is the least significant bit of information is being sent. So once I turn this up, this goes to 0 automatically. And I can move this up as far as I want to move it up to a possible 126. Now here I move the cursor over again. I can move it behind it, see? So I can make the range of the amount of bit that's being sent to it. So we have the least and the most. I want to talk about the fader. Now here, for example, we have faders, of course, 1 through 8. I'm going to move fader 1. As you can see here now, in the field right here, it says F1, meaning fader 1, of course. And we can change parameters. Now we have the control change, and we can change the aftertouch. Those are two parameters we can actually change. Now I'm going to push the value knob in, and now we can see the parameters we can change. Of course, obviously, as always, we have the control change. And here you see it's set for 1A, MIDI channel 1, port A. We can always go up to MIDI channel 16, port B. Possible 32 different MIDI channels we can use in 2 different ports. Okay, so we have a control change, which is right here. This field is lit up here. Now the control change. In this field, you can set which control change number the pad will transmit. Okay, so I can turn up here. I have a control change to 12 or whatever. That control change will correspond to whatever controller I'm going to control in my DAW, my digital audio workstation, or on my MIDI keyboard, or let's say another MPC or an MV8800, a different module. That control change will still be sent to that item. Next, we have here the minimum range field. This field is used to specify the minimum value that the knob or the fader output will have. So for this is the minimum value. I can say we won't go below this certain point here. We won't go below 35. And the maximum will be 127. That sets our minimum value. And of course, we must set a maximum range as well. So we got a minimum range and a maximum range. That's our minimum range field. Next, I'll move the cursor over and we'll look at our maximum range field. Now this field is used to specify the maximum value that that fader or knob will attain. So I'll go here. I can bring it down. I'll bring it down to here, say. I want to go between 35 and 100 as a value for this fader. So I may want to have the floor is going to be 35. So as low as I'll go with that. Maybe a volume on a drum or something, or it could be a volume on a bass sound. And the maximum will be 100. So I may not want to distort something. It may get too loud if it goes past 100. So to make sure I have a minimum maximum selected for this particular instrument, we'll say. And this is how we do it. Now, once I have that, I can also press enter. Control change is made up. Next parameter I can edit is the aftertouch. Now here with the aftertouch, you know, sometimes you'll play an instrument, you want to have a little vibrato maybe. I'll play something and it'll have some vibrato to it or something. You know, you'll touch it, you'll play it, whoa, it's got a vibrato sound, but you got to hold it down to get the vibrato going. That's the aftertouch. After I hit it, that touch, how long I hold the pad down, what was the velocity I held it down at? Well, we want to control that aftertouch data. So, I'll turn the, let the pad here, the F1 rather. I'm here, aftertouch, I'll press enter, and now we can control the aftertouch. Now, of course, with the cursor over again, we can control the MIDI channel change from 1 through 16 in port A and 1 through 16 in port B. Now I move over here, and here's the aftertouch, right here in this field here. Now what happens here in this field here is that this is our minimum range. Okay, so I can say if you hold it down for this long a little bit, that's great. Up a little bit more, that's good. So of course again we have our minimum and our maximum range fields that we can set for the aftertouch. Once that's set, we're good to go. We can press enter and it's in there. Well, that's the fader. Next we'll do the knob. I'll press the knob, turn the knob, move a knob. There we go, K1. We can change. Here we go again, right? The control change and the aftertouch. Oh, we've got increment and decrement also. Look at this. An extra one there, okay? So, we'll select control change. And here, we have the same as usual. We have our control change number. Control change we're going to actually activate. We have the MIDI. Of course, control change MIDI right there. And we have our least and the most right here. Okay, good. Back up to here, moves back down to here, and I'll press enter. Next, we have aftertouch. Turn the data wheel, press enter, and now we have aftertouch. The same thing. We have aftertouch, and we can set our minimum and our maximum right there. Press enter. Now, we also have here increase and decrease. We'll press enter here. Now, since these knobs turn around so much all the way around there, we can set our increase and decrease. We can also set of course, the MIDI control channel 1 through 16 in ports A or port B. Next, we have a value we can set right here also as well. From 0 to 127. So we can have the parameters here. You can see 0 to 127 to 127. Let me explain about this. This is called the NRPN function. And it's used to incrementally increase or decrease a value. Now this allows you to use the knob to increase or decrease through parameters as opposed through absolute number value. So I can increase or decrease parameters. And this all depends on what your software does. So if your software allows for NRPN, then we have the control change right here in our MPK 61 or 88 to do that. And it happens right here. Once you get the right value, I'll put this back to 127 where I like it at. It was at when I turned it on. Leave it there. And that's good to go. And there you go. That's all three. Now once my knob parameters are set up for that particular knob, I can go to a switch. S1, S2, up to S8. And now we're here. I have a parameter I can change, which is the program change and the control change. So we have just two parameters we can change here. I'll start with the first one, the control change. We'll press enter. And here, as before, we have, of course, the MIDI channel. It's already set there. Is 1A. And here, we have the program change. So I can change, I want to play, oh, this is going to play 28, which is a bass line. Or I can set it to, let's say, 27 or 29. That plays a keyboard. So it depends on what program I set up in my DAW or my module or my keyboard. Either one. It sends program information. Next, we also have here MON and toggle. So we have momentary. Remember, momentary is natural, okay? You hit the note, it plays, you pull your finger up, it stops playing. Toggle means that, of course, we hit it once, it's playing, we hit it again, it cuts it off. So it plays until we hit it again. So we toggle back and forth between the note on and note off. Okay, good. Now we'll press enter, go back to momentary, the natural setting for this, and now that's entered. If I wanted to change, I want to change something, I press enter, it's going to be there. Next, we have program change. We can send program information. I'll go to here, bam. We have the channel. Here, an example, we have 00. We're not sending any program information right that way. And we're not setting a limit to the on or off here. We're going to go here to the most and see what's turned on. This one goes on also as well. No need for most or least here at all. No need for that. We can set, if you want to set it, we can set that parameter. And then we've got that particular switch, which is the S1 or S8 right here. It's been changed. See that? Once it is, and I like it, I can press enter. So that's how we can change the parameters. Now we want to check out the arpeggiator. And we want to edit the arpeggiator. Here's how it works. I'll press the arpeggiator button, and now we have several parameters we can actually edit. We can edit the arpeggiator type. See that right there? It's a type. We can edit the range of the arpeggiator. Now this is setting the range in octaves that the arpeggio can span. Of course, let's say -3 to +3 octave range. We have the toggle. Okay? We'll go back to here, turn the dial again, and now we have the gate. Now the gate parameter describes the duration of the arpeggiated notes, how long they're held on for, how long or how short they're held for. We have the swing. Now the swing parameter describes the swing offset for the even notes in the arpeggiated sequence. That's important. Now to set, of course, to set this arpeggiator function, we'll press edit, then we'll press arpeggiator, of course, and now that we have that going on, we're going to go back here and go to type. So I'll hold this in. Now here we have type. Okay, so I'm going to start from the bottom here. We got up. Let's go arpeggiator. I push it down. Let's go back here and here, and we have up. Now here with up, that means it always goes up. Oh, it's going up. So I'm holding down the chord, it's going up. Here's down. Ah, it's 2 octaves like, right? Okay, cool. Now, we have include. Now, inclusive means that notes arpeggiate from the lowest to the highest notes and back down. The lowest and highest notes are re-triggered at the direction change. So I'll hold down 3 notes here. So the bottom notes repeat again before it goes back up to the top. Once it reaches the top notes repeat again before it goes back down. Okay, that's cool. Next, we have exclusive. Now, notes are arpeggiated from the lowest to the highest notes and back down. So the lowest and highest notes are not re-triggered again. It's like we did before in the inclusive. So in this case, I'll hold 3 notes down again. Then we have a random. It's the random. Just randomly selecting notes. This one, that one. Just randomly picking this note. I'll do this note, the bottom one, the top one, the middle one. It just picks them out, what it wants to do. Then we have chord. I can hold a chord down. Now this is all based on the time division and how it's set up on our MPK. Now here are the chords I hit before. We'll play this chord right here. I go to here, I'm going to do chord on triplets. 8th notes. 16th notes. Okay, now I'm going to go back down and do random. Okay, let's go here. We're going to do it exclusive. And we'll do inclusive. And then we have down. And we have up. Now next to toggle type, we also have the range. So right there we had it 1 octave up. So I can go here, I can go 2, and 3. And change this even if I want to. Or go down. I'm just going to 0. See that? That's how our range works. Now next we'll explain toggle. Now here we go. I'll hold the notes down here. And now they're playing. I can latch them, of course. And I'll keep playing. Latches off, right? Now if I go to momentary, and I hold this down, I'll turn this off. Now I'll turn it on. So I gotta latch on. See that? Well, it works. So you have to know, hold it down, and we can actually do the arpeggiator. Turn it off. We're not. That's momentary. For the moment that I hold down the arpeggiator button, the keyboard will lock into the arpeggiator function. When I release it, it stops. That's momentary. But in toggle, I click it on, it stays on, I hold the notes down, and it continually plays until I press the arpeggiator key again and the function stops. Now, as we showed you earlier, this was our octave range, remember? Arpeggiator on first. Good. Go back to 0 here. And as our toggle between momentary and toggle. Okay, I'll press enter. I prefer it to probably be, I like the exclusive stuff. We'll go with that. And now, make sure my arpeggiator is pressed right there, set our arpeggiator right there. And now what I want to do is go to the next set of parameters. We have gate and we have swing, so I'll press enter. And now we have the gate function. And this has to do with how long that particular note is held down. So while the gate field, within this gate field, while it's on, we can increase or decrease the value of the gate. Keeps longer, letting it come out the gate quicker for a long period of time. Just quicker. Short notes. Very short notes. See that? Very short notes there. That's our gate. It's pretty simple, right? Let's go back to it here. And then we have the swing. This is different here. Now this hits our swing parameter. So it's swinging it almost. This is part of a feel thing. So the lowest amount we can do is 50. And the highest is 75% swing. Now swing has to do with a function like you may hear some guys say, oh, the MPC has a great swing, or the SP1200 has a great swing feel. This is how you set your swing feel right. You can set the swing of this particular feel. This particular chord here I'm setting up in the arpeggiator, we can set our swing value up also as well. And that's for our arpeggiator button functions. Now the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to go to note repeat. I'll just press with keyboard. I'll press edit and I'll hit the note repeat button. And now we have note repeat. Now here in note repeat, of course, we have the toggle and the momentary, same thing. So I can press this down. I can select momentary or toggle. So we'll show you that next. Now here in momentary and toggle, for example, we have toggle on. I'll select that. That light stays on. Okay. It repeats the same. Just samples right here. Just trigger those samples going on right there, right? Now, if I go to momentary, see, I got to hold it down to keep it on. So I can hit a sound. And now it's triggering the repeat function for the beginning of the sample. See how the sample just moves up slowly? It's a slow attack, so a slow intro to the sample. Now I put it down, the full sample plays. I press this down, that's momentary. So the moment I hold it up, pull it down and pull it up, it's gone. Momentary. And the other one is toggle. It stays on till I cut it off. We had note repeat toggle. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go note repeat and we're going to go to gate and swing. We'll press enter again. Here we are. Now, of course, the gate allows the particular sample or instrument sound to play either short duration or longer duration. And so I'll just hit a pad. Well, not that's bad. And see, I can. So it's really short duration. Remember, that sound is very short, so. Okay, see that? Now this sound here, I'll turn the note repeat off. Right? So, note repeat on. Not too long. Now turn the gate down, and we get a shorter duration, the first part of the sample. That's all we get. And that's how the gate works. Now, I'll turn it back here. I wanted that probably, let's say 50 is always good enough for me. And I'll move to the next parameter, which is the swing function here. And swing works somewhat in the same way, depending on what the note repeat set for, and of course, with my time division set for quarter notes up to 32nd note triplets. So in this case, I'm going to go to 16th notes. And I'll hold the same sound down maybe. And of course we change the swing, the feel of that. Now this you can experiment with your music. So you have to just sort of check it out, see how it sounds, and see if it fits in how the swing you want to have it swing to that particular pattern. But it's very useful and functional too. I love it a lot. I use it on certain sounds, and so I always swing pretty much when I'm making a beat up. That's always the thing I always do. And set my swing for a certain feel I want to have, whether it's doing reggae or rap or jazz. It's important to do. And once I'm in no repeat also, I can also use another button as well. That's the time division button. So note repeat was pressed already. And here you can see obviously we have here in the window, we've got our toggle and momentary thing set to go. I can press time division. And now we get division. See this? We can set a time division for anything here, see? And I'll press enter. And you can set up for quarter note triplets, eighth note triplets, 16th note, 16th note triplets, 32nd note, and 32nd note triplets. See that? And it can be either toggle or momentary, depending on that first one. That's my first S1. I can go to S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, X7, X8. So I can set up the particular parameter I want to have for note repeat. I can say, I'm not going to use this triplet. I can make this the same thing, you know. I can get rid of that or something and say, well, yeah, I can make that quarter note as well. So this way you can actually set up those parameters and save it for that particular preset. And once you save it, you can press enter and you can save those changes. And those are time division changes for your note repeat. This also can be set for arpeggiator. I go to my arpeggiator function, and see it says arp right there. I press division, and again, I can set my division, press enter. I can set each one of these buttons S1 through S8 for the particular parameter I want to set it for. Once I do, I say, okay, I want to keep that one. I go to here, 32, 32, 16 triplets, 16, eighths, and quarter note, and quarter triplets. Once I like that, we're in parameter settings. We're not our arpeggiator settings actually, and we're done. And we're good to go. So these divisions and subdivisions of notes can be set for our arpeggiator and for our note repeat button. Okay, I'm going to do my pitch bend next. I'm going to move this thing around here. I'm going to go here. And then, there it is right there. I'm going to turn that a little bit. And next, we're going to see that it says set wheel right there. And that's 1. That's a pitch bend wheel. See, that says pitch bend right there. Good. Now, I can press enter. And here, all we can actually do is the send value. Where are we going to send this thing to? We're going to send it straight through here or there or there. We're going to send it, of course, to a particular MIDI channel. 1 through 16 in ports A or port B. Either one. There you go. And that's how it works. Okay, now I'm going to turn my mod wheel. And the next thing we're going to do here, you'll notice, of course, it says mod wheel. Right there, okay? Press the button in, and now we got some parameters you can work with here. We have, of course, our control, obviously. we have here the MIDI control, the cursor over there, 1 through 16, and A or B ports, either way. Then we can move here, we can have the control change, send the value. This value will go to a particular parameter and tell it, hey, this is the mod wheel coming, this is the mod wheel setting. 001, what's your mod wheel setting for your device? Next, we have this right here. And this, of course, is the lowest, and this is the most, the highest. And we can select our range right here. Once it's set, we press enter, we're good to go. That's for our mod wheel. Now that was a mod wheel, of course, and now what I do, one of the last things I want to do here is actually, hear that? This is the MIDI machine control. Now I clicked on that, we hit edit, and now we're here. It's our set trans, it's page 1, and I'll press enter. It's page 2. MIDI machine control is an option, MIDI is an option, both MIDI machine control and MIDI are options. So it's pretty simple. If you want to know more about MIDI machine control, just check us out on Symphonies.com, check up on our website, and read your book, man, of course. But MIDI machine control is pretty simple. One machine will control the other machine. One's a master, the other one is a slave to that master. That means it has the output. It's waiting for it to send these tempo changes out or stop and start. So you see here, I can do that here with the machine I have set up right now. I'm hooked up to my system, which is Reasons. This is good. I'll press enter here like that. I can press back to here and press play. Go back to the top if I want to. And that's how we use it. And we can set those parameters. That covers just about everything here on the machine. You can also set up the foot switch in the back as well. And set those foot switches up if you want to. And that can be done as well. That's very simple to do also as well. And that's how we can run mostly everything on the keyboard. Okay, by pressing the split button, I can edit notes here. So I can edit the values. Now I got split set here. See, split set or set split. And I can edit pitch, note. That was first. I got pitch, mod wheel, sustain, sustain 2, expression, the arpeggiator, MIDI channel, aftertouch. So all these can be edited. So I got note, of course. The note actually sets the note I can divide the keyboard by. That means anything below 73 will be A, above that will be B. Press enter, that's good. Next I have pitch. I press this in and it can be on for A and on for B. Next, we have mod wheel. Could be on or off. See that? That's on or off. So that means we're going to send the usual information out. And it'll be separate. It could be separate for A and B because they're two different sounds. So A could be one, B could be the other one. We have the sustain, A or B, which is sustain switch. We also have sustain 2 for that pedal. We have expression pedal. So it could either activate for A or activate it for B. Or both at the same time. Could be on for both. The ARP again, A or B. And MIDI channel. See? So it's just B. So we don't know what A is going to be. In this case, we can select what B will be. Because A will be the main sound. We're splitting up A. The new sound would be B. Back to here. Aftertouch. A or B, on or off. And that's it. So we can split the keyboard up, and we can also split up how much information comes out, either A or B, whether it's aftertouch, MIDI channel, the arpeggiator for A and B, or both of them do the arpeggiator function. The expression, which you have an expressive pedal to use for that, plug in the back of your MPK. Sustain 2, sustain 1, could be on or off for either A or B. And the mod wheel, and the pitch. Once you have the settings you like, you press enter, and you're good to go. Here I'm in Reasons preset, and I'm going to press global. Now here, the first thing we see in global is our MIDI kill. Now sometimes you're playing a program or something, And this one note rings forever. You don't know why it's ringing. Well, this is our kill switch. It kills the MIDI. What happens is that this thing actually cuts it off. So that means you're in global kill. It sends a message out. When we're through playing, cut off all MIDI information. Very good function to have. Because sometimes you got a note that might be, you know, just playing. You don't know why it's playing. It's just sustaining too long after you stop playing the track. Now, the next one we have here is common channel. This is page 2. And this is in the global, of course, and this is our channel. Let's let the common channel, all MIDI information will flow through. In this case, the common channel will be 1A. See? I can change that here with my data wheel. And I'll press the right cursor button again, and now we have LCD contrast. Now we can contrast the display to give us a view that we feel is best for us to view our parameters on. So when you're sitting down or standing up, you're going to make sure you can see it pretty clear and very clearly. So you can say, okay, no, that looks great for me. That's great for my video too. I'm going to say, well, you know, I may want it to be a particular setting I like. That might be better for me right there. I like that pretty good. Or I can go to here. Great to have that on any machine. It's really good. We have our keyboard curve. Now what this explains, the keyboard curve, is that the keyboard curve, it's a velocity curve. And what this thing does, it describes how the keyboard on our MPK outputs MIDI velocities. And this is based on a certain ratio of input-output velocity that characterize the particular curve. So it depends on the curve setting I pick. I may pick this one here, which is linear. And so the linear is a logarithmic curve. And it's linear tape, that means it's even. Some are logarithmic, like here. 1 is logarithmic. 2 is also. And this is good for someone who's, I guess, a really good player should adjust it and what his feeling will be for his system, what feels best for his playing feel, you know what I mean? And we have exponential as well, which is exponential 1 and exponential 2. And it's recommended for use for players with a heavier touch. So someone's got a real heavy touch and allows them to play the keys harder without overly, you know, getting a loud volume. Some guys whacking the keyboards, then they're slapping the keyboards down. He don't want that. So sometimes you actually may have to change this in order to make it better for them to play much easier. And not to be playing too loud, but to get the feel they want and you get the sound you want. That's important. I prefer it to be linear. Then we have pad sensitivity. This allows you to adjust the pad sensitivity. So if I hit a pad and touch that pad, it'll reach the maximum velocity when I hit it, but so hard. So you're going to hit that pad and then get a good sound from it. Some guys don't need that much sensitivity. So I hit it soft enough, you go down here, you can adjust it like that and get it to like 0.5 or whatever. Makes it much easier to work too. And like the keyboard curve, we have a pad velocity curve as well. Now how this works, almost the same way actually, is a pad velocity feature is intended to like sort of help you to optimize the pads and get the style you want to play at. We don't want to get expressive and get that control from hitting the pads. Well, you want to make sure that the velocity settings match the feel of how you hit those pads. So you want to practice in the pads and you can pick out the best velocity setting for you. And we have A, B, C, D, and pick which one you want to use, which gives you the best feel for your velocity setting hitting those pads. That's what sensitivity. We have pad threshold. Now, threshold means we don't break this threshold too much. We want to do a threshold. It's the minimum force required to activate the pad. So, you know, bam. Okay, the pad's activated. That's our threshold level. You can adjust it, but it's all about your feel. You've got to play it and then see if it fits your feel when you're actually composing your music. Next, we have transposition. Now this is page 8. And this is obvious. We can transpose the entire keyboard. These are global commands. That means it's going to be for everything on the keyboard. You got that? And this global command means I press a note and play it, and I move it up a little bit. All the notes will be moved up that same amount. And this is a very fine tuning of your instrument to make sure it's, say, you're playing a program, you're not too sure if the note is 44-0, if A is the actual pitch. And if it isn't, if you want to change the pitch a little bit to match something you're doing, you can do it here in transpose. We have MIDI clock. Now, sometimes you want to control other machines. This is an internal control, it's sending out MIDI clock. External control means it's being controlled by another source and it's going to receive MIDI clock, MIDI commands from another machine. I'll leave mine internal. We have average tap tempo. This is great for our tap tempo on our machine. We'll tap tempo. So 3 taps will give me an average of how fast that was. Okay, 3 taps could have been 99.2. I tap fast again, like that. That could be 125. So, after 3 taps, the MPK will calculate what the average tempo speed was from those 3 taps, and then make your system play at that particular speed. And then the last button here I believe we have here, last few buttons here we have is global. I can save this entire setup. And so I save this in my global command, will save it, and be part of my preset. Or actually part of the global commands for the machine. We have system exclusive, and here at the end we have the version. This is the version of the MPK, which is 1.01. So when a new one comes out, we want to know what's 1.03, I got to update my machine. So you'll know where it's at. You go to global command, the last page is 13, and that page has the version of your MPK software. Okay, next one more button I'm going to do here is called the program change. I press program change, and you can see it says type there. Now, program change often refers to this patch change. It sends out many information saying, okay, I want to change this one sound, this Fender Rhodes keyboards, to this R&B Fender Rhodes keyboards, or this grand piano to a stage piano. So it wants to make the change, and it sends this changing information into a MIDI message. And it sends this MIDI data through our MIDI cable to the device and tells it we're sending a program change. Now we can change, this event will transmit a regular program change message from 0 to 127 to your DAW or to your external device or your MPC maybe, or whatever you're using to tell it we're going to make a change here. We're also going to do program bank changes. Now this event, let's say for example, we got a program change, but it could be banks. It could be like bank A of keyboards, bank B of stage pianos, bank B of grand pianos, bank B of electric pianos and clarinets. So it could be these different bank changes. We may need to send those 2 parameters back out. So that's how this works. For example, we're in program change. We'll press the enter button. And now, this is pretty simple, right? You can see here we have right there the CC, right? And next to it, right here, we have program. Program and CC, right? So look. I can turn this and select my program change I want to send. That change goes right to it. Good. I can also select the MIDI channel I want to send the information on. Once I have the right information, I can press enter, and we're good to go. That's program change. I can also do the bank right here. I can select which bank. Program change. I can do the minimal, the maximum rather, and then the least amount of bit information I want to send through this program change. You got me? So doing program changes can be a little difficult. Depends on what parameters are set up in your machine, whether it's your reasons or let's say a Yamaha Motif rack or a Triton rack, whatever rack models you're using. You want to make sure to send these changes out that you can change the parameters from right here on your MPK if you want to.